Hello children. As per the plasma membrane that we have discussed earlier, it was regarded as selectively permeable membrane, right? But why was that so? Since it allowed the movement of only specific substances to move in and out of the cell, right? Now let us see how does the movement of substances like carbon dioxide, oxygen and water takes place through a process called as the diffusion and osmosis. So what is this diffusion? Diffusion is a process in which the substances move from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Now for example, the substance like carbon dioxide, which is a waste and has to be removed out of the cell, right? So that can happen only when the concentration or the amount or the level of carbon dioxide is more inside the cell than its external medium. Similarly, the oxygen, which is very important for the cell, has to enter the cell, right? So when that can happen? That can happen only when the amount or the level or the concentration of oxygen is more outside the cell. So this process by which the substances like carbon dioxide and oxygen move from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration through the selectively permeable membrane is called as the diffusion. The water movement across the cell also follows the same principle, but the process is named as osmosis. So osmosis is a process by which the water molecules move from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration through a selectively permeable membrane. You get that? Now suppose I place the cell in a medium which is having high concentration of water. What would happen? Of course, the cell would gain water from its external medium, right? Why is that so? Because the external medium had higher concentration of water, and we already know that the water always moves from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration, right? So as a result, the cell would swell. And now suppose if I place a cell in a medium whose water concentration is same as that of a cell. Well, at that point, the cell size would have no change because the amount of water coming in and going out will be equal. And suppose I place a cell in a medium whose water concentration is less than that of a cell. So in that case, the water from the cell would move out. As a result, the cell would shrink in its size. Now that we know how flexible this plasma membrane is, and this flexibility of plasma membrane helps certain organisms like amoeba to engulf in or to take in the food or other materials from the external environment. And such a process is called as endocytosis. Now this endocytosis is a process by which the organisms like amoeba engulf or take in the food from the external environment through its plasma membrane. So here is a small video clip to understand the process of endocytosis happening in amoeba. Well, in case of plant cells, we are already familiar with the fact that there is one more additional extra covering surrounding their plasma membrane, right? And what was that? It was cell wall. Well, it was very rigid enough. In the sense, it's very hard. So what will happen if a plant cell is placed in a medium whose water concentration is lower than that of the plant cell? At that point, the cell would lose the water and would get shrink. But surprisingly, the cell wall would not shrink, only the inner contents of the plant cell would shrink or would move away from the cell wall. Now that phenomenon is called as the plasmolysis. Hope the concept of plasma membrane and cell wall were clear enough. So we shall continue this chapter in our next video.